What's going on, guys? I'm Teacher Nurse, and we're back with the GPL week number 5 Pickems for the Hoenn League. By way, of course, I mean myself and my co-host, Exo. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. What's going on, GPL community?
Alright then. As you can see, these are the results from the week 4 Pickems. Just to make it a little clear in the instance in Ted versus Poker, the match was extended but not played after the extension due to following all of the audit trails of everything that had happened. Ted got disqualified and Poker got a 3-0 forfeit victory. So that is the result for that screen. But aside from that, we don't go over the results, of course, but with that result and all the other results in mind, we did actually end up in me closing the gap by 1 point, so I'm now only 2 points behind EXO, which is going to be close. I'm 2 points behind in both leagues right now. I got some catch up to do. But if you don't know how Pickems work, either side of me are two coaches that are playing each other this week. EXO and I are going to break down strengths and weaknesses of both sides of the matchup, and then we are going to predict a winner plus a scoreline. So first up on the docket, speak of the devil and he shall appear. EXO is in fact playing Ted for Prez, who actually recently got DQ'd and is still hunting for his first win. So, honestly, breaking this down, it's kind of difficult really to see Ted having a win condition. I feel like while Scolipede can be annoying, Talonflame can definitely be a problem. Obviously, it's the question of how does he beat Melmetal. Obviously, most of the primary ways is going to be through things like Rocky Helmet Chip, maybe Burns, Static Paralysis could be annoying, but obviously Melmetal's already slow, so that can definitely be a problem. But there is a rather funky little item that Exo and I actually talked about before we started recording, which I'd forgotten existed, but it's actually Protective Pads, which is an item that prevents direct contact effects actually happening, so things like Flame Body don't burn, no static paralysis and stuff like that. So that could be a cool little bit of tech. The downside to that, of course, is it doesn't run the band, which means it's lacking a bit of damage, but Melmetal still hurts. There's not really any two ways about that. I feel like Melmetal just does way too much damage. We even calced before recording a fully physically defensive Azumarill. Thunder Punch still two-shots it, so definitely kind of a problem. And that's without the choice band.
Yeah, quite honestly, for me, I don't really like Melmetal. I like in this game just because, yeah, Double Iron Bash is nice, and yeah, I could be running Protective Pads, but I don't know. I think like a defensive Stunfisk is still annoying. I think Hitmontop is still annoying. I think Porygon, of course, still outspeeds and still nukes it. There's a lot of options that Ted has, especially the Duraludon that could come in on a Double Iron Bash and eat it and then threaten me out. So honestly, looking at it, I think Melmetal is more of a threatening thing for Ted. Like, he's definitely prep for it. I just don't know if I'm gonna bring it yet. I didn't even really build my team. I had like a sort of team so far. I know this is pretty late in the week, but it's really weird to play around not like knowing what you're gonna bring it.
Yeah, for sure.
I do like the Porygon on Ted's side. I think Porygon is really good. If it's adaptability, if it's download, I think anything sort of works with it. I do like the Stunfisk, like I said, for like the Melmetal. And I do like Duraludon in this match as well. I think those three Pokemon are really nice in this matchup.
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely see them all being a problem. As I said already, Scolipede actually gets enough moves to hit the majority of this team. It's just going to be a question of can Ted execute on a game plan. We've currently not really seen anything too special from him just yet. He's kind of just been rolled over almost every week. So definitely a bit of an issue. I do feel like you're way better with this team. I think it's very safe to say that the changes that you made have definitely made the biggest impact, because you could not use your team at the start. It does make it scary. I do think Duraludon is stronger than Hatterene in this matchup. Hatterene could be strong if it can get set up, but Duraludon kind of puts pay to that with a Steel move. So not really the best matchup for Hatterene, but nonetheless, even things like Rillaboom and Cineroar Incineroar's always a pain. Incineroar can be annoying to deal with because it just pivots out on all the things that want to switch in on it, and it just doesn't care. Does have to be careful of dark moves because of Virizion, obviously, but I do feel like your matchup is more comfortable. I think it's not super easy. Like, on paper-wise, if you took the nameplates off, this probably is just about even in terms of the fact that, yes, your team is more well-rounded, but he's got pretty difficult answers, or pretty difficult questions for you to answer. I do think, though, you are easily the stronger player, so I am going to put the win in your hands. I think it's a 4-0 game. I think you win 4-0.
Yeah, that seems about right. I'll probably get a 4-0 if I'm lucky. But knowing me, oh man, I definitely feel like I'm gonna throw something important away, like the Melmetal if I bring it, or like the Hatterene or something. But you know what?
Just switch Holutra in on a psychic move again. It's fine. Don't mind.
Oh god, yeah, I'll do that. It's just a Slowking. No, okay. No, I think man, I'll go with a 5-0. You know, I'm being optimistic today.
Alright, I like it. The nervous optimism. I saw that. I heard that in your voice, and everyone else is going to hear that too, so you're welcome. Alright, next up on the docket then is going to be the meme lord himself, Rabbit, versus Galaxy, who finally turned up. I think it's fair to say, after a pretty dominant win last time round. Really, really interesting to kind of see both of these players, because both of these players are very inconsistent. Like, obviously, Galaxy, we've kind of not seen too much from until last week. And Rabbit, he either wins 4-0 or loses 4-0. It's one of the two. So that put pay to my prediction last week when I thought he'd break the chain. But nope, that didn't happen.
Never.
So either way, that kind of makes the predictions a little easier. It's going to be a 4-0 either way, so it's a case of pick your poison. But nah, all jokes aside though, it's interesting to see Corviknight on both sides. I don't know how much I really feel like regular Corviknight is actually that useful. I think the G-Max advantage is clearly in Rabbit's favor. Orbeetle is not super solid in this matchup. Yes, it's bulky, it does get webs and stuff like that, but it doesn't get too much to hit this team. Obviously, not being able to hold heavy-duty boots kind of ruins it a little bit. It does mean it is vulnerable to rocks and stuff like that, so it's an interesting one. Rabbit always pulls some weird shit out of the hat, so I won't be surprised if he does again. Rabombi actually has a surprisingly good matchup. Looking at this, it gets the coverage moves it needs to hit even things like the Roserade. It does get Psychics, so has a way to break through Roserade. Of course, it gets Energy Ball for Rhydon and stuff like that as well. So it can actually beat the counters, or quote-unquote counters that are on Galaxy's team. It just depends on if Rabbit actually wants to use it offensively or not. Even things like Alolan Whack can be very interesting. Trick Room may be a thing on both sides, given the fact there is a Dusclops on Galaxy's team. But I don't feel like Trick Room is really in his favor, given the fact Cursula and Alolan Whack are incredibly potent in Trick Room.
Yeah. I think I do like the Cinderace in this matchup. I think Cinderace does very well against, like, of course, the Corviknight. You got the Moongus, the Rabombi, Stunfisk, Ninetales, even with, like, Sucker Punch. I mean, I guess Marowak, Corsola. I mean, it definitely has a lot of answers for a lot of Rabbit's Pokemon. And then, of course, I do like the Sylveon is pretty nice. Yeah, Rabbit does have 2 Steel types, but I don't know. I don't really know if Stunfisk is coming this match. I mean, I feel like Galaxy has a lot of answers to it.
The other thing on that is that Sylveon gets Mystical Fire now, so even the Steel types don't appreciate the switching anymore. So
yeah, you're right.
That can definitely be a stumbling block. Stunfisk is heavily bulky though. Stunfisk could come. I can see a world where it does come, even just as like a heavy bulky rock setter. I can definitely see it potentially coming. It does, funny enough, also get Sucker Punch. I hope you remember that one, Transor, just in case you forget it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see the best things in the world. I think both sides have a clear point of strength. You know, looking at Rabombi and Komodo on Rabbit's side, and then looking at Cinderace and potentially Sylveon on Galaxy side. And then it just turns out, or questions in mind of who turns up and who doesn't. So I think either way, I think we're predicting a 4-0 either side. So, you know what? I probably should never vote for Rabbit because he always proves me wrong, but I'm giving Rabbit a 4-0.
Okay. You know what? I want to see that physical Rabombi. No, please don't do that.
Hey, choice-banded Rabombi's a thing. Don't.
No, it's not. Dude, don't tell me it is.
Hey,
with U-turn.
I'll have you know, Exo, I am the Rabombi master here. I know what works and what doesn't.
No, but like, actually, I'm gonna give Galaxy the 4-0. If we're going with just 4-0s, I'm gonna give Galaxy.
Why not? Let's see if the 4-0 meme can live on. Alright. Alright, with all our stupidity out of the way, next up on the docket is gonna be two people who have kind of somewhat been struggling. Skinny Biscuit, of course, got dumpstered last week versus Tyler, who got a bit of an upset and a very narrow win, but still not being super consistent. So, what I find funny about this is I was looking at both of these teams, and we noticed this before we actually joined call. Between the two of them, they actually have half of my team, with the Rillaboom, the Vulcan, the Noivern on Skinny side, and the Rotom-Wash and the Bronzong rather on Tyler's team. They're actually kind of two people that have taken parts of my team and started using them, which was kind of a bit of a fun observation. Looking at this matchup though, obviously one downside for Skinny is he can't scarf his Rillaboom, so he can't kill the Gengar again. But yeah, there is that. But looking at this, actually, I'm not a huge fan of Skinny's matchup. I think now that we know the Rillaboom can't be scarfed, the Gengar naturally will outspeed and do a lot. Gengar actually outspeeds pretty much everything on this team, bar Noivern. So, I think it's speed ties with Starmie, but aside from that. But yeah, so Gengar actually has a lot of power in this matchup. It does force Scarfers or a setup move on Volk like Quiver-Dance. But even then, Quiver-Dance plus Psychic won't kill a max Gengar. So, that's something to bear in mind. It's kind of interesting. Like, Tyler's team is kind of lacking in pivots from what I've seen. Like, yes, there's the Dom, yes, there's the Rotom. And obviously, we've seen this teleport Arcanine way too many times at this point. It's kind of an interesting one. I'm not entirely convinced by either side having a super dominant matchup. But I do kind of like the Noivern, and then I like the Gengar on Tyler's side, so how do you say this one go, Nexo? Because this is tight for me.
I really like the Starmie. I like the speed tier of Starmie, as well as just the coverage that it gets versus Tyler in general. I think Psychic does well. Flash Cannon is actually pretty good. Ice Beam's not bad, I guess, versus like the Tangela and Togekiss. I definitely like Starmie in this matchup.
Yeah.
It does have Energy Ball too, for the Rotom. Tyler's side, I actually sort of, well, he's not gonna bring Graplock. I wish he would, but he's not gonna bring Graplock, sadly.
It'll happen one day. It'll happen. He'll bring it in Trick Room. He'll bring Bronzong plus Graplock. I'm calling it.
Yes.
Not this
If Tyler brings Grassy Glide Tangela, that would be the tech right there.
You know what's actually funny is Bronzong doesn't actually have the worst matchup here. With access to Body Press this generation as well as Rock moves, it can actually be fairly solid in this. It does get two-shot by a Spax Magnus and Thunderbolt, however, as I found out as I had to face that matchup against Takami, so I actually understand this matchup relatively well. But Bronzong is actually not the worst here. It does get enough moves to deal with a lot of the issues on Skinny's team. Plus, Skinny hasn't been playing all that great, so... the other side is, of course, the Grassy Terrain kind of nerfs Tyler's team. As we saw against you, he didn't really play around it very well. So it'll be interesting to see if he's learned how to play around Grassy Terrain this time around, and if he plays it better. See, like, the thing is, like, I don't really trust either of these two to execute very well, because we've seen inconsistencies in both. So it's not even like I can think, oh, well, this one's the better player.
I don't know. I think Tyler definitely learned that Teleport Arcanine is not always the best option, and we saw that definitely last game, so... I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna give... Oh, this is tough, actually. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna give Tyler the win, and I think it's gonna be a 1-0. It's gonna be really close.
Alright. I do think it's close. On basis of the fact that Skinny has more of my team on Tyler, I'm gonna give Skinny the win. But I'm gonna also say it's a 1-0. I think it's close either way.
Yeah.
Alright. Now, these next two matches are both fire, so I'm really excited for these ones. The next one is going to be Poker versus Transel. We have the Rain God versus a very consistently well-rounded, inconsistent one. So let's see how well we can look at this. Honestly, though, Rain is a terrifying thing. I'm starting to be more and more convinced by Rain when I watch Poker play, because he's actually very strong with it. But what's interesting is there's kind of a somewhat of a weatherish war if Hippo has any opportunity to come. I don't think it does because there's too many water types, but it's kind of an interesting dynamic where there may be some shenanigans going on. Looking at it though, oh man, like Zeraora is fuel on this team. Like the amount of work that Zeraora can do can really cause problems. It's got enough moves to hit pretty much everything on this team. In fact, it has got everything that can hit something on this team. Bar Clefable, I think. So Clefable has an interesting bit of dynamics. I don't really like Transel's matchup at all. Looking at this now, like Escavalier could be a thing. Persimmon could be a thing out of Rain, but in Rain it's not super great. Rotom is probably like the stumbling block in a way. Obviously, if it's offensive, it can deal with things like the Dreadnought and the Seismitoad if they both come. But aside from that, it's really hard to see a point of strength for Transel, like a focal point that he can play around.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. I sort of like the Tentacruel. Of course, Zeraora is there, but like other than that, Poison, as well as just water moves in the rain, are always annoying. Because if, let's say, Scizor comes in and they predict a poison move, Poker predicts a poison move, and gets hit with the Scald, that's gonna do a ton of damage. But I think the Goodra just sort of eats everything. Yeah, I think it eats everything. Like even the Rotom with like Leaf Storm, just eat it with Sap Sipper. It also eats Volt Switches and stuff. I think Goodra is going to actually do really well this game, and I do agree that Transel doesn't really have the best matchup this game.
Yeah, this makes it very interesting to work from. Yeah, I mean, I don't really necessarily agree on the tons of damage on Tentacruel. It doesn't have the best damage output. It's more known for its bulk, but it could definitely be an interesting idea. But I don't see Transel winning this game. Transel might pull something out of the hat. We do know Transel can be a little creative, but I feel like Poker has too many answers. So I'm going to give Poker the win, and I think it's a 3-0 win.
Okay. I definitely want to back Poker. The only thing is, I need Poker to lose so I can catch up in the differential. So I'm gonna give it to Transel. He's gonna somehow pull something out of the hat and win. I'm gonna give him a 2-0.
All right, loving the logic. Oh man, you ready for this one? Because this one's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, so
yes.
The last match on the docket is gonna be Pelly, of course, who's spoken somewhat a huge amount of trash about the league in his interview, versus Solo, who had a bit of an upset, but is very, very scary nonetheless with his hyper offense. So this is a case of who wins the bulk versus offense war, because we see a lot of bulk on Pelly's team, we see a lot of offense on Solo's team. Usually, I look at this and I kind of think, okay, well, who has the better answers for what? So when I'm looking at it, of course, Drake is ult with the RNGesus. If it hits everything, it can do a lot here. It's not the fastest thing in the world, though. There are quite a few things on Solo's team that outspeed it naturally, so...
Yo, okay, can you do me one favor? Look at Cinderace and look at Pelly's team.
Yeah, it's a Slowking setting there. What about it?
Yeah, but it also has Sucker Punch max move, which hits it pretty hard.
Not the best to a physically defensive Slowking, though.
I mean, hey, it hits it, and it also it hits everything, like Gunk Shot, Fireball, Sucker Punch. I'm pretty sure that's all he needs, and it hits everything. I guess High Jump Kick as well. That just sort of hits everything.
Which might have move
scary.
slot syndrome then, because it kind of wants a U-turn as well. So that could cause it an issue or two. Because Solo's team doesn't have the best pivoting, if you notice. There's not a huge amount of U-turn / Volt Switch at all on this team.
Yeah.
So it's kind of going to be something where he may want it, he may not. Bulk up Grimmsnarl is always a problem. Especially given that a lot of Solo's better offense, or like his well-known offense, is physical. When you look at Cinderace, Lycanroc, Serena, I guess, Bishop, these are all physical based, so obviously Hydreigon is better special, and so is Gardevoir. And, you know, things like Hydreigon could be physical, but I doubt it. But yeah, looking at this team, honestly, when I see a huge amount of physical offense, I look for physical bulk on the other team. Aegislash can be physically bulky, so can Grimmsnarl. Slowking is known for physical bulk. Piloswine is not bad on the physically bulky side either. And then there's a Type Null sitting there. So there's quite a few like physical walls that Solo's going to have to break through with a primarily physically offensive team. Which could be the stumbling block here. That could be something that Solo might not have the best time dealing with. But yeah, if Solo can get Cinderace putting in the work, then that's going to be the decider. It does get acrobatics for max airstream if it needs to speed up in case of any Scarfers. You know, like Cobalion, for example. We've seen Scarf Cobalion a few times, notably from Professor Elm, but it's definitely a possibility.
Yes, so yeah, I definitely think this is going to be probably the most anticipated match of the week, and it's going to be a close one, of course, because they are quite. I would definitely say that they're the best in the Hoenn division, which, you know, does say a lot. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a good match. I do like Grimmsnarl, because even if Cinderace does have that max poison move, it's only going to be doing, I think the max is like 90 or something, right? Because it boosts special attack, which means that it only gets like up to 90. So Gunk Shot's going to be doing surprisingly less. So Grimmsnarl actually might be walling Cinderace pretty well.
It doesn't really hit it back very hard though. It doesn't get like Earthquake or anything, so...
I feel like it gets something. Might. Hold on.
It might do, but I don't remember. When I prepped against it, I don't remember it getting anything for fire moves.
It gets Stomping Tantrum.
Oh, okay.
That's not bad.
Yeah, there's no grassy terrain though. Feels bad, man. But yeah, like, nah. I don't think it gets the best answer. And if he does bring Stomping Tantrum, like, what else does it hit? I guess Lycanroc, but...
Yeah, Lycanroc's big. And Bisharp hits it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's definitely an answer.
It's annoying, right? It's gonna be, hey, who's better, the bulkier team or the offensive team? Honestly, given how much trash Pelly's talked, I want Solo to win. So I'm gonna give Solo a 2-0.
Okay. And just like my argument before, I need Solo to lose so I can catch up. So, Pelly's gonna win this one. I'm gonna give Pelly a 3-0.
Alright, and with that, of course, that concludes our Pickems. Let us know what you think the results are going to be in the league predictions in the Discord. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Robot, my teacher. That's Exo.
Good luck, Owen.
Alright. stay safe, stay awesome, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.